Okay, so got my notebook from last time with my list of stuff. So today we are doing a mouth bag for the character that I was working on last time. Which I believe was this one. Oops. We're just going to do it quick. So I don't have to keep on doing this. That way, that's better. Don't have to worry about everything changing. What is going on there? I bet that was masked. Yep. Let's just repeat that. So today we're going to do, like I said, the mouth bag inside of this character's mouth. So really the only thing I need visible right now is going to be the head. I don't need the hair. That. Don't need that, just need that. And then what we're going to do is we are going to turn on, or actually, so first we're going to get ourselves a cube, and this is going to be the gums. Shrink it. Bring it up to place. So this character isn't for the game I'm currently working on. This is just kind of like a concept mock-up for another character that I have for a future project I want to work on. Transparency on. I'll put ghost on it, sometimes it just dries it. Actually, no. We're not going to put ghost on. So it's for a future project that eventually I want to do. But this is also kind of like a test for time it takes to do a full character, including rig, minus textures. Oh, well, no, maybe I'll add the textures in, just so that I have kind of a really good handle on what I'm doing for textures and coloring, coloration rather. So, okay. So, first thing we're going to do, dynamesh it so that I can just play with it as I please, and I don't have to worry. Oop, that's a little low. Let's just do that. Don't have to worry about stretching. Yeah, this is the so this should be like that. Ghost. Yeah, okay. I guess I do need to use Ghost. Oh. Doing the gums. Got a couple pieces of reference in pure ref on my other screen here, which is super handy. I definitely suggest if you're doing some digital art and need something to use reference, pure ref is awesome for that. I find there's probably a bunch of other ones that you could use. But pure ref has been pretty good so far. I'm just gonna get kind of a basic shape. I think I need a little bit more resolution. Yeah, I need to be able to have it hold its shape. And as always, I keep on forgetting to go back. Mask on. So I don't destroy the other side of the mesh while sculpting. Anyway. So, looking at this, the gums are going to cover teeth and the parts of holy, my brain just kind of did a reset there. Parts of like the why can't I remember this? Parts of the mouth anyways. Let me look. Let's see. That's probably skull anatomy. Maxilla. There we go. Holy crap. So, on your skull, your maxilla is this part that kind of comes here. Let me get this. Maxilla is this area in here of the upper jaw. So, sorry if that's loud there. And so, I'm going to shape this somewhat accurate to that, so that we can then bring our teeth out of it and have an accurate kind of representation of that. I'm not going to worry too much about the back end of it just because it's not really going to be seen that much. And then once you get the top one, what you can do is just duplicate it, flip it down, and then kind of shrink it just a little bit. Most people's lower jaws don't completely line up to the top except for at the back. Everything else up front kind of comes a little bit further to fall just slightly behind your other teeth. Top, let's just worry about everything else. That in that way. Just a little bit further back. And since this is going to be just like a quick concept, I'm not going to worry too much about it being perfectly exact. I'm going to get it roughly accurate. Just so that I have a little bit of a better idea of how long it's going to take me to do stuff, but it's not going to be super pristine, just because this character isn't going to have this character's going to be stylized first of all, so there's not going to be a ton of detail. Also, it's going to be third person, so you're not going to see the mouth a ton unless I decide to do cutscenes, and even then, kind of less likely to still see it. So. Something like that. Just cool this stuff down a little bit. And again, when I go to retopologize it, it's only going to be the stuff that's actually showing, so anything that's shoved through geometry anywhere isn't going to be an actual part of the future geometry. It's just going to be the stuff that's on the surface, maybe a little bit underneath, just so that there's a little bit of separation, but yeah, I'll probably just go with connecting everything as one singular mesh, or at least close to one singular mesh. It makes it a little bit easier to rig everything that way, I find. Quicker rigging is nice. Okay, so now we got the upper palette. That should do. Solo off. Just find someone who is their mouth open. Okay, so not that far down. So this needs to come up around here, which actually makes more sense. Make sure that's further. This actually, oops, this needs to kind of get dug away inside here. Our lips are actually pretty thin in terms of the amount of skin that's up there. Shut transparency off for a second. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, that'll do it. There we go. Let's really just see something that I look. There's always something that'll catch my eye and I'll be like, well, I gotta fix that. Okay, back to this. So we're going to shut down a mesh off for now, just so that I don't have to really worry about just messing something up. So holding control, we can just drag a direct copy, and then holding shift, oops, go around 180, pick that up, shrink it just slightly. Back out in the X. And then shut solo off and look at that. Perfect placement. Not. So, because the jaw is open, I need to align this with the jaw. That. So if this were to swing up, this should sit right underneath. So motion of my cursor here should roughly be the swing, so it'll come up and in. And again, I'm still gonna reduce the size of this a little bit. Something like that. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to get rid of the lower area here. Using where's it? Select lasso. I'm just going to take this out, like so. And then we can delete hidden. Back in, diminish this. Ooh. Did not, oh, that's why. Okay. Well, that's not quite symmetrized, but close. Get rid of this by squishing it in. There we go. Close enough. You can move this so. There we go. That should be roughly good. Come on, just a little bit. The slightest flare out at the back. Where's my reference here? Correct? Yeah, and then at the very back it comes back in just a wee bit. To the back. Like that. Okay. So that wraps around. Good. Now on to the teeth. Let's shut that off for a minute. And the tongue. Actually, I should probably get the tongue in there first. Pinned. I'm just going to use a sphere. Just a really quick tongue. Just a little more. And then let's solo this out. Do that. Close enough. There. The beginnings of the mouth bag. Okay. So now we got that. What we can do now is start doing the teeth, which are just going to be insert meshes. So that's the nice thing about ZBrush, we can just go and grab a primitive, say, well, let's just go with a sphere. Regular sphere, and what we can do is just grab these, and then shape them. Nice and simple like. So first teeth are mostly square on the bottom, and they come like so. And they are way smaller than this. What about that? Set the position. I'm going to use my move brush. One of the nice things about this is if you open the brush menu and you go down to your curves, you can turn on AccuCurve. And what this does is just grabs one position and it is accurate to that position. You can pull it out to an actual point instead of moving everything around it. So this makes it a little easier to manipulate stuff that you need kind of a hard edge on. Super handy for that. Okay. And then I'm going to split these. And then what I'll do is I'll merge them all afterwards and give them all a different poly group. And then crank the Dynamesh so they don't mesh themselves together when I'm trying to keep shape. Where are we at here? Split, nest. Okay. So these are separate objects now. So what I can do is go back in here. There we go. Move them where I need them to be. Closer in. And if we bring back the head, it's a little far down. Let's bring that up. There we go. And that's all the teeth you need. Done. Kidding. Obviously. Okay. So back in here, do another insert. Now, what we could do is actually just take these and duplicate them out. But my issue with doing that is there's a lot of different shapes that come into play. And I don't want to be like hashing in a whole bunch of other ones. The other thing is I want to keep these all separate so that they're not lining up funky. And then what I'll do is I'll go in each individual set, so each pair, I'll go in and move them properly. And then what I'll do is I'll shut symmetry off and move them separately so there's a little bit of irregularity. Because not everybody's teeth are perfect. Okay, so we're going to insert. The sphere again. That there. Shape. So, like the first one, these ones are fairly flat. They're a little bit smaller. But still kind of the same shape. But I'm looking at these ones now and they need a little bit more curve out at the front, so I might just quickly... Hold on. Back. Since they're like little choppy blades. This here. That's good. And obviously I need to go up and into the gum and like put the actual like in between the teeth. I can't remember what those are, that spot's called, but the gum that goes between the teeth. The actual shape of the bone underneath, which is like it shapes around the root of your tooth, and put those in, but I'll do that after once I get these all in position. Okay, so in here. Curve these back. So bring that up. What we can do, we can rotate this just a little bit, not that much though. Like that. Back just a bit more. Okay. And we can go back into our move brush options, turn AccuCurve back on. And drag these down. Got points again. Push these around a little bit to get a better look. There we go. And then this needs to, oops, let's go in a little bit. Top. There we go. And then we can kind of put this in place now. Let's refresh that. So let's see here. This up a little bit as well, because it looks like in at the reference, those teeth kind of start going out and up. And it looks like they actually have a little bit of a point in the middle that starts happening. Kind of. These ones are just like straight up flat. There. Okay, and then we're going to split these ones again. Split unmask, so it keeps this. And then we're just going to go back in and drop another sphere. And this one, look at that, it's so small. Gosh. That. Oh, oops, I still have AccuCurve on, which I didn't want. Okay, so obviously the stereotypical canine tooth. I can't remember the actual name of it. Is a little bit more pointed, but it's still not like, it's not sharpened per se, unless you file your teeth. It rounds out quite a bit. And there are, like, you can have people with sharper, whatever they're called. But generally, they kind of don't really come to a point. They kind of come like that. So it's a little more kind of rounded. Something like that. Now look at this. His teeth. Here. Also, before you go and look at reference, base yourself. If you type in like teeth reference or gums reference, because oh boy, there's some gross images. So, which is why I'm not going to put my reference up on screen, because then, yeah, I'd have to figure a way to send a trigger warning for people who don't like nastiness, or can't stand the nastiness of it, because, yeah, it's pretty gross. Lucky me, I don't get grossed out by too much. There are some things that make me want to blow chunks, but not a ton. Not a ton. Usually it smells, because I have a ridiculously good sense of smell. Just, you know, nose. That usually helps, right? Is that how it works? Someone tell me I'm wrong. Oops. I have no idea. About right. Kind of. Just look really close to this here. So the back of this needs a heck of a lot more curved edges. Just looking from underneath. Like that. Then, in terms of distance down, it just barely comes into that one, so it should be more up like that. It should have a little bit more of a twist. That's alright. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. That is what I wanted to do. Come on. Oh, come on. Couldn't remember which one of these little symbols was for centering the pivot point on the object. So just barely under, like that, and that's right. Now, this, I'm just going to do a little bit of fix there. Could you imagine if that was how easy it was to fix, like, an out of place tooth? Just like do some sort of weird little twist and locks in. I obviously did not wear braces as a kid, so I don't know the pain and suffering people went through with those, but I do know people who did, and did not look like a good time. Just imagine just having, like, your teeth tightened together. Yeah. I'm sure they have better methods now, right? Right? So this goes in, leave that. this actually needs to come down a bit further. Then we can go back here. This needs to come like that. Turn this just slightly more. This can be turned slightly more. Okay. That's a little better. Yeah, it's getting there. Okay, so there's that. Now on to all of the other teeth, which I believe starts the molars, or like the sort of molars. Okay. So let's split these off. Going to insert another sphere. There we go. I'm going to really quick. Just gonna hide that lower part there and get rid of the tongue so I can actually see what I'm doing. And the nice thing about, ouch. The nice thing about this is the same thing as the lower jaw. I'll be able to just flip rotate all of these teeth down to the bottom and then just kind of modify them just slightly. The front lowers are all smaller teeth. Same with the like canine tooth down here. And then everything else past that, if I remember correctly, gets a little bit closer to the size of the one above it, but still being just a little bit smaller. So, and that goes all the way back and up. So, yeah, nice and easy there. Yeah. And I need to change something quick here while I'm doing this, because I just realized that this is, once again, this is that. Not enough space for me to work. Keep the proportions. Nope, I need my width resize. So, well, nah, that should be good. Okay. So clear that. Frame it. There. Now we got more space to work on. This will slow the computer down a little bit, but not so much when I'm working on such low poly stuff. Like, I'm only at 1 million polys total, but most of it's all hidden, so active points only 4,000 shouldn't be an issue for speed. So I see my internet is doing some funny stuff today too, so hopefully that shows up. That being said, again, it's warm in here again today. I don't know what the temperature is supposed to be. I should probably check that before. Getting the stream going. Yeah, currently it's 27 outside, so inside it's probably getting close to 27 here. So I'll probably stream till maybe 3, maybe only a 2-hour stream this time. Unless I can get it to cool down in here, which it's not supposed to rain at all today. And we have another heat warning. Otherwise, yeah. If it cools down, great. I'll keep it going, but my fans are currently set to high and it is not really cooling off. And I bought a bunch of new shirts to keep me cooler, and they're working decently. So it's crazy how button-up shirts are like. They're cooler. They're just nicer to keep you cool with. And you can kind of look like you know what you're doing for whatever reason. No one knows what they're doing. Nobody. And if they say that they know what they're doing, they're probably lying. Or they're disillusioned. That is pretty much 100% of the thing I get whenever I look at tweets or any other social media posts from other artists who are in like AAA game dev. They all say, nope, no one knows what they're doing. They're just going as they just figure things out as they go, which is great. It kind of, with that mindset, it kind of gives you a little bit of like a breather, because you're not like trying to do everything right. Obviously there's things that have to be done in certain orders, like you can't just drop a 3 million poly sculpt into say Unity or Unreal, although Unreal 5, their new technology looks kind of interesting, and say, yep, it's done, it'll work. It in general will not, so you have to do some things correctly. But yeah, as far as I've heard, read, and seen, most people are just like, yeah, we'll do what we can to see if it works, which is great. Again, a reduced kind of stress load for people who are coming into it, and hearing that from people who have been in the industry for a while is... I did that backwards, I think. Yeah, I did. We can just rotate this, actually. Something like that, and then we can... move this. That. And then squish it down a little bit that way. There we go. You know, I don't have music playing in my ear. I should get some music on, otherwise I'm gonna be sitting here. My brain is gonna focus on other things. I need to solo this out for a second. That didn't work the way I wanted it to. Right, it's not separated. You just say yes, and grab that, and grab that. Pull it down. There. And then rotate it a little bit back the other way. That, bring this up, squish it, oops. Push it that way. Something like that. And just looking here. Size should be... I did something like this. I did something funny with this. That. Then I need to do that. There we go. A little bit more of a curve on the front of the sharp tooth there. Sharp, pointy tooth. That's a little too far down now. Move that back up. Rotate that a little bit that way. That way. Put that back in place. There we go. That's a little bit better. And then these shapes here, like this cutting like that, it should fit kind of around the teeth underneath of it. so that they kind of sit in place, it looks like. Sort of sit in place. Although that could be just like, I'm using a couple different references that are, one of them's a digital sculpt, the other one's someone who's got one of those like mouth wideners. And it looks roughly about like that. Okay, we're gonna split the last points again. Did that not? Oh, come on. Okay, so I can't split it if something's hidden. You know what? Which means we're gonna do this. Just for simplicity, we're gonna split the hidden off, and then that way I can just hide that. Not deal with it. Much easier. What I should do is actually just get rid of all of this. So I really don't particularly need it. Let's just do that. Look about right. Get rid of that part. Yep. And then just take this and crush that in like that, and then we're going to dynamish that. I should dynamish off. There we go. Let's push that all down. Move that in a little further. That out. There. And then I'll just sculpt the top if I want it. We're going to shut dynamish off so I don't accidentally mesh something. And then we'll go back to inserting teeth. Primitives. So most of these teeth should be like pretty much smacked up right against each other. I'm gonna do that before I duplicate them, and after I get them like exactly the way I want them. Again, because this is stylized, I don't need to like do every single like indentation mark on the tooth, all the crazy like, what's the word, like the surface texturing, where it's like you have little ridges throughout like the surface of the tooth. I'm not going to do that because I'm not making some like crazy huge Hollywood VFX movie. This is going to be like a really kind of, well, it's going to be an indie game project eventually. So don't really need to go crazy with the details, especially since that's a lot of time to spend on teeth that aren't going to be seen. So more than likely, much, I'll say. If I want some cutscenes or something like that, then obviously I need the teeth in there, otherwise it's going to look like they're just like, yeah, always with their gums, I guess, or lack thereof. So, and don't really want that. I want to have at least a little bit of accuracy in the anatomy department. So, at least a little bit. Yeah. Alright, so with this one, we're going to actually turn the AccuCurve back on. Just going to zoom in again here on this one piece of reference. So this one's roughly about the same size as the previous one, so I can actually push this in that way. And then grab that out, grab that out, and grab that out. We can shut that off, get kind of the shape. Push these in. carve this out. So nice thing about ZBrush, or well, yeah, is the nice thing about ZBrush. ZBrush, to do nice sculpts, you don't need to know everything about the program. To do nice sculpts, you need to know how to use 3 brushes. That glove almost fell off there. That looked funny. 3 brushes. You need the BMV, which is the move brush. That. You can use BST, which is your standard brush, is the one that it loads in with. It just doesn't have an alpha on it or anything like that. It's just kind of a blotty brush that you can just kind of build with. And then you can use BDS, which is the Damien standard brush. Not sure, I guess the person who made it maybe named Damien, but basically what this does is it just carves in a sharp line into the surface, which, look, it's now a molar. Ta-da! That's how amazingly quick it goes. Literally, ZBrush has all of these brushes right here. You can make your own brushes, but really, you really only need 3 to do amazing sculpts. I think it was... I don't remember if it was Raphael Grassetti or someone else. Someone who's big name sculptor really only uses like a few brushes to get their sculpts crazy detailed, and then they go in with the extra brushes to really just fine tune. All these other brushes that are like, that are fine tuning brushes, like the polish brushes, the spiral, the stitching, all the other brushes are like, yeah, you can use them, yeah, you can learn them, you don't need them though, which is the crazy thing, because you bought this big program that has all these crazy cool brushes that you can use, but you don't necessarily need them all. And hey, if you do use them all, awesome, because I don't. Can't talk today. I use clay buildup, the move tool, and the Damien standard brush, I think, are my most used. And then high polish, which is great for hard surface stuff, but not needed because you could just like go down to your deformation and just polish them by features, by groups, by crisp edges. So, just an amazingly good program to use. And like the biggest power of it is you don't need a crazy good graphics card or anything like that. You need a processor that can run decent speed, and you need RAM. That's it. If you have an integrated graphics card, great. It won't matter what your graphics card is, as far as I remember, unless they've changed it recently. This is 2021, so as far as I remember, the setting or the requirements are still pretty low. You know what? Let's look that up before we go too far. ZBrush System Rex. Yeah, Core 2 Duo or AMD equivalent with SSE2 technology. There that is. 4 gigs of RAM, but they suggest 6 or more. Oh, this is for 18. Let's look at, where's 2021? There we go. Okay, 64-bit edition of Windows. I thought you could use it on, or maybe not. I thought Mac was a thing. Oh, this is the Windows requirements. Okay, so yeah, Macs can use it. They've got different settings. I'm not going to go through those. Well, I can. Windows, 64-bit edition of Windows. Intel i5, a 7 or Xeon, or an AMD Ryzen or Threadripper. 8 gigs of RAM required for working with multi-million polys. You can get away with lower than that if you're not working with multi-millions. 16 plus for 16 plus gigabytes is like that's cream. That way it's not going to slow down when you're working with crazy amount of polys. A hard drive that has 100 gigabytes. They recommend an SSD, obviously, so anything that's solid state's going to go faster. You don't need this, but if you want to save your wrist and from carpal tunnel, get a pen tablet. As far as I know, any pen tablet works. It does say Wacom or Wacom compatible, but as long as you've got Windows tablet API running, then I'm pretty sure it should be running, or it should be fine. A monitor, 1920 1080, and then video card. This is crazy. Most cards manufactured 2008 or newer. What is that now? 14 years ago? Yeah. So if you have a graphics card that's 14 years old, it will still run this, as long as it has OpenGL 3.3 or higher. That's the highly recommended. Like, they have even less down here. So RAM 4 gigs, hard drive space 8 gigs to store ZBrush. That's it. That's how big the program is. It's only 8 gigs big. A mouse or a tablet. Your monitor minimum that it'll go is 1280 by 1024, which is, I'm pretty sure that means you could almost use one of the old CRTs. I think one of the nicer old CRTs. At least one of the really old like flat screens, which were like 2 inches thick. You can still use those. And yeah, video card, anything that's got the OpenGL 3.3 or higher, which is, yeah, anything made in 2008. Crazy to me. So yeah, you don't need a crazy good computer to run this. And again, just to save your wrist, even if you just have, it doesn't have to be a display tablet. It just has to be some sort of tablet that picks up your pen movements. You can do it with a mouse, but there's a lot of clicking, which means excess repetitive motion can build the carpal tunnel injuries, which not a good thing for artists. So if you are doing it with a mouse, stretch, do your stretches, please, for the love of your craft. And then Mac, I'll just do their minimum because I'm not familiar with, well, it's pretty much the exact same thing, just Mac OS 10.11 or above. Yeah, everything else is the same. So, yeah, really low system requirements for getting into it. You could almost run it on like a $400 laptop. Or I think there's even like a tablet version of it you might be able to get. Not 100%. ZBrush Core might be that. Maybe not. I might be wrong about that. Core Mini, maybe? Core Mini is like the version of Sculptress that they actually put a little bit more money into, I think. Anyway, really low requirements. So if you are looking at getting into digital sculpting, highly recommend that. But if you don't want to pay for the program itself, Blender also has sculpting. And from what I've heard, because I haven't played with it enough, I've only gone in and like, yep, it works type thing, like just kind of a couple swipes, yep, that's sculpting. But from what I've heard and seen, people do a lot of amazing stuff in there, so Blender's free. You only have to have the computer to run it, and I can't remember, their system requirements are not that much higher, if at all higher. They're probably actually less at a minimum base. So, And unless you're rendering, you don't really need a graphics card. In general. You kind of do, but kind of don't. So you just need something that usually comes with a computer and it'll run fine. Just don't do anything high poly. And that's pretty much... That's pretty much that tooth, I think. It doesn't actually have this, so this is the line I put in there with the standard, or Damon standard brush is kind of non-existent. So we're gonna get rid of that. Nope, don't want to mask. Okay, I'm going to separate that out. Put on masks. What's this? I just made something funny. Okay. Leave that out. Okay, so this is where we're starting to get into the bigger teeth. So, looking at this now, these are way too wide, which means the teeth are probably too small. And this needs to go higher. So let's go, oops, okay. This, we're going to do that. Bring that up a little bit more. And then, actually, the teeth looks, well, no. That does have to go up just a little bit higher. Yeah. And the teeth need to be bigger and closer together, which means this. Let's just reset this. This needs to come in that way. The transparency. A little bit more like that. I think. Is that right? Just trying to think for... Let's get another Joker reference up here. So, skull ref. Images. That's like... comes down with the center of the eye. Okay. So no, I was right. It needs to, or I was wrong. This actually needs to come out quite a bit. So yeah, the teeth are way smaller than they need to come out to about right there. And that needs to be longer, pushed back. Yeah, not that one. There we go. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll just finish making the teeth as they are right now, and then I will put them all together, scale them up, and then separate them out again and reposition them. And that should be good. So right now, as it's sitting, they're a little small. They need to be a little bit wider. And they also need to be larger, it looks like. I'm putting an adult baby teeth. It's just kind of funny. Very tiny. Where am I at here? I need to hide the head again. Go back in here. Shut transparency off. Okay. Tiny teeth. Guess I can make these slightly bigger. Well, actually no, I need to make them the same, oops, make them about the same size, because then when I blow everything up, it'll be okay. Okay. Let's refresh that. Up a little bit. Shape this from the top, and then we'll go in from the side. So, back to a reference here. Top shape, so we got 2 of those, and then we got this one. Do I want to? I'm not going to sculpt the wisdom teeth. We'll just say this character has had their wisdom teeth removed. Just trying to count in the back of my mouth here. I still have my top wisdom teeth. One has popped through, the other one has not. It's just sitting up there. And I've been told that I should have had them out earlier by my dentist. But I also have a ridiculous amount of space between all of my teeth, and if they ever come through, like the one on this side has, I won't really have a problem with spacing. Like, it doesn't bug me. There's no problems with it. The one on the other side just hasn't decided to grace me with its appearance yet. At least not that I know of. Yeah. It's still just hanging out somewhere up in here. Which is fine, it can stay there. Because I really don't want to have to go and get my face smashed in by the dentist. So that just sounds like a bad time overall. Nope. I keep on dynamesh, but not dynameshing. There's enough geometry here. Okay, so we can change this back to the AccuCurve move. And I have, the cool thing about this is you can modify all these brushes, and you can save them out and put them in your startup kit. Which is going to be funny if I actually still have mine. No, I don't. And they'll just appear down here. What you can do is you can actually go in and can't remember, it's somewhere in preferences. You can make keystrokes for them, so that you can just use those brushes as if they're your regular ZBrush brushes, which is great because it just helps with a lot of customization. And you can also like download brushes that people have made. You can share your brushes. From what I've seen, the community is pretty awesome about that. Like, a lot of times you probably have to buy them because people put a lot of work into it. I haven't really done a lot of looking into it. I think I've downloaded 2 custom brushes in the entire time I have used ZBrush. Mainly because, like I was saying earlier, you really don't need more than a couple of brushes to operate ZBrush. There we go. And these are the ones that are starting to get a little bit of this kind of indentation. And I don't know what that's called, but I've heard my dentist say that my, whatever it is, they're very pronounced on my teeth. And I don't know what that means, if it's bad or good or whatever. But the nice thing is, these ones, after I split this off, I'm going to split unmasked, I'm going to go back into this. These ones are similar enough that I can just drag them out. And then at the back one, I'll just put a line in that, I think. Let me just count these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, 8, 16, 32, 32 teeth. So, 27 without the... yeah, okay. 28 teeth without your... what do you call it? Wisdom teeth. Trying to think of the word wisdom and forgetting. Guess that's not quite the same, but... Okay, 1, 2, 3, and then we can go 4. I'm just gonna size it just a bit. And then split, unmasked, and then 5. Is it gonna do that, or is it just doing 4? I was just doing 4, whoops. We'll just have to do that. There, okay, teeth, ta-da, done. Sort of, not really. Go back into these ones, see, that looks a little funny. So we're just going to build that up a little bit, just so that it has a little bit extra space to work with. Okay, so all the teeth are good-ish. They're good for now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hide that. Just hold on, not merging stuff I don't want to merge. Select that, and then I'm going to merge down. It's going to say, hey, this is an undoable thing. This I'm going to shove it above. But I'm going to do it anyways, just because I can separate them out in a bit. Merge down, merge down, merge down. And now that's all the teeth in one place. And look at how big of a difference there is in terms of their size. So what I need to do is Shift F first of all. So everything is kind of its own polygroup right now, which is nice because what I can do is go to my Move tool and turn off AccuCurve because I don't need that, but auto masking, take my mask by polygroups slider and drag it all the way up, and that means if I've got this huge selection thing, wherever that little tiny red dot is, I grab that, that's the only thing going to be moving, because it's only going to move based on the polygroup itself. So this one's a little bit of an issue, so what I need to do, so I need to go down to, oops, I need polygroups, and say autogroups. And so now every single tooth is a completely separate object, and it is now a completely separate polygroup. Holy my brain. Which I kind of don't want. I kind of wanted the same, but I can't remember how to get those. Merge similar? Nope. Don't merge similar. Group mask? Nope. I guess I can mask from here if I... So, group from masking, so what I can do is take this and only mask just that. Make sure that's not caught anywhere. There we go, and from mask. Nope, holy, I guess that's not going to work. Okay, we're just going to do some auto groups and do that. And then just have to do a little bit of, oh, you know what, I know it will work. I'll just do this manually. Size this down. That, oops. Let's just select rect. And then do this, and hit Control W. That's the wrong tooth. I should learn what symmetry is first before I start doing this. There we go. Okay. Control W does an auto group. So then I can take this one, Control W, oops. Oh. Control W. This one. And just go through and find all of these similars. gonna change that color a little bit more. Alright. That one. And where to go? This one. Try to have the ones that be next to each other a different shade, or a different color altogether. They can be similar shades throughout. They'll be just slightly off in terms of their color number. But I don't want, like, see, these two are so close. It's still a separate a separate group. But it looks way too close for the color. Whereas like this and this kind of the same, this and this even closer, they're still different in terms of the actual poly group. So, which is handy. Yeah, so now that I've got that, I can go back to my move tool, and with polygroups masking turned on, I can just go through and manually kind of move these around to where I want them. Sizing these up, push that down. And I've got a big brush size just to cover everything on the tooth. So that it's not stretching it or deforming it too badly. Be a little bit of it, but that's fine. Okay, so now if we bring bring everything back, so upper jaw, that's going to be a little out of place, that's fine. Fix that in a bit. So it's not making too much noise. So that looks actually pretty decent. So, in terms of size, so what I need to do is just kind of blow them up in size. Where did the teeth go? There they are. So we're going to do this. Go to the center, reset, and scale those up a bit so that they fit. Where's my transparency? Oh. Do that. On the gums, just like that. Look at that. Never works out that well. And that still looks pretty decent in terms of looking at it from this perspective as well. Teeth look roughly where they should. They might be a little too far forward, but I can just edge them back a little bit like that. Just trying to think. Yeah. Should be a little bit of space up front. Not a ton. But when you open your mouth, yeah. Little bit of space. Maybe not that much, but I can fix that in the lip. Because I think the lip's a little too far forward up here anyway, so let's actually just do that right now. Oops. Come on. Something like that. Then I have to redo the shape up here as well, but I can worry about that later. I can actually do that a little easier once I get the remesh done, because then I can actually shape that ridge to an actual like geometrical shape, and then just subdivide it for detail. So yeah, do that a little later. For now, this is good. What I need to do now, though, is I need to take the mouth bag and expand it. So, to do that, we keep everything showing except for the lower half, and we're going to flip this around. and gouge into this. And just how to hit Alt and accidentally mess up too much of that. That, that, like so. Bring this back to add, and do the palette stuff. And voila, you have an upper mouth. Oops. Just like that. Probably not the best in terms of accuracy, but again, I'm not looking for super accurate. Just looking for good enough to show that, yes, that is a human. It has a mouth and teeth. Next, the bottom area of the jaw. Which is nice and easy because all I really need to do is take these teeth, duplicate them, flip them around. Where are my teeth? Here we go. So let's just do solo mode for now. So take them, move them, rotate them. Whoops. I need to shut that off. Do this. Nope. Holding Alt, press that, refresh. Spin this 180. Tilt it down, move it down. And then what I need to do is go in for each of these. Shift F. And now what I can do, I'll split the unmasked points. I'm just going to do some renaming here. Lower teeth. Upper teeth. I'll probably put a space in that one. You can't do that. That's one thing I wish they would add for ZBrush, is when you double tap the name, that you can rename it like that instead of having to go down and click rename. It's probably one of my biggest pet peeves for this program, which is, pretty minor considering the rename button is like literally just like a slight finger movement, but still, it's still that little bit extra instead of just double tapping right on it. Gum, lower gum. Gums. What is this? The eyeball. Man. Like eyes for now. Anything else? Bunch of extracts, so I'll rename those all later. This is the tongue. Tongue. Lower teeth. Okay, so we can show all of this stuff. Rename that to upper gums. Spell that right, yep. Shut solo off. Get rid of the head for the time being. And I'm going to have to replace all of these. Somewhere up in here. Oops. And shrink it just slightly. And then, actually, it also needs to come in like this. That might actually fix it almost. These need to be a little bit smaller. Something like that. And then what we can do here is just Control Shift, just Control click it in W mode. That's what I need to do. So Control click that, Control click that. I can just move these So control clicking while in transpose mode lets you completely mask a separated object or polygroup. So, oops, back there. Nope, come on. No, I'm pressing Alt. I just don't know how to operate computers, that's all. Which is unfortunate, isn't it? Okay. A little closer in. Bump that just a bit. There. Rotate just a wee bit. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, kind of. I think I need to have the lower gum and jaw a little bit further down. Let's see here. Let's go. Let's put this to transparency. Yeah. Because if this is the bottom of the jaw here, when it's open, these need to be like something around right there. Yeah. If there's any other mandible open reference. Let's just call it jaw open instead of having a bunch of dissections of a mandible. Yeah, that's more like it. Okay. That's it, as you can see. Ooh, excuse me. Okay. If we were to take... Nope. Nope. Let me get this. Okay, let's go with that. Yeah. Okay, that looks sort of accurate. Need to set a little bit further back though. More around there. Tilt them over there. What I need to do is get rid of this head so I can see where the other teeth are at. That's that. This needs to come down somewhere under here. And when it closes, it's going to swing up and in. Yep, that should do it. And then so this needs to rotate, go down, and do something like that. Let's squish it a little bit. Sculpt it back in later. Center that, refresh this. That. More accurately. There. So then it's going to swing. If this is, let's just take this, call this somewhere around here. This head. A little bit further up. So if we're doing that, and then let's hide this, that'll swing up. Not quite, so it needs to go back. Like that. eyeballs. Yeah, that looks better, because then they'll sit in behind. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to take this, move these back just a tad bit so they are on there. There. Okay. Oh, there's the gums and the teeth. And that's kind of the gist of that. So we get rid of all this transparency stuff and show everything again. Remember, yeah, shift click is everything. What is this? Oh, I know what that is. That's just like the shorter hair, which I don't know why I have that. I think, oh, you know what, I was probably doing something. Let's just delete that, because I don't need it. And then we can just take the hair, the actual hair, which I'm still not set on for this. Originally this character has, like, what is going on with that? Oh, it's a different one. Originally this character had more like a punk haircut, and something's really messed up here. Something's not symmetrical anymore. That's weird. Okay, well, doesn't need to be, I guess. Oops. Control W. This. Sorry, I'm getting a little sidetracked here. I'm gonna pull the hair a little bit more. There. Something like that. Anyways, yeah, it was supposed to be more like a punk haircut, not so much a, what are they called? Is it the bob? Yeah, something like that. Okay. This looks like a human mouth. Looks like a human mouth, kind of. a little bit more fixing. What I should do is actually go like that. Go in here. Get rid of the top half of the mouth for now. Hide everything that's on top. Silver teeth. And resculpt the inside of it. Because I think I had the throat way too far forward. Yep, I did. So let's go turn on transparency. And you know what? Let's hide everything else again because it's all in the way. Again. Boots. Okay. And the eyeball is in the way. Out of here. Okay, so what I need to do is push this further back. Down. There we go. Bring this up. Bring this in. It's a little closer to the teeth. This bit out a little bit further here. This come up just a little bit more for the tongue. This stuff in as well. Like so. That's a little bit closer. Okay, let's hide that. Let's see what this looks like. Holy man, that is craziness. Okay, and then just to make sure I didn't miss anything up for the upper jaw, I'll probably have to cut that back just a little bit up there. And the upper teeth. We're good there. Yeah, looks good there. There. Something like that. And that's the mouth bag. What a word for it. Okay, so we got that. Time we kick in here, 2:30. It's not super hot. I'm going to take a quick break for a couple minutes. Just to get something to fill up my water again. Do a little bit of stretch for my arms and hands and my legs. And then I think we can move on to starting a little bit of retopo. I don't think I wanted to do anything else with this. I'm not going to worry about the hair right now. I'm actually probably going to delete that. Yeah, you know what? We're just going to delete this like so and just leave her with that. I need to go through, I need to also chop out, oops, transparency back on here. Shut transparency back on, turn transparency back on. I need to go and cut out the body parts that I don't need. I also need to duplicate this. Geometry, modify, urine weld. There we go. That way I've got an eyeball in each location. That's roughly where I want it. So yeah, basically the only thing from the body I actually need are the hands. And the hands, those are just insert meshes from ZBrush. So what I'll do the retopo with, because I don't think these are, yeah, they don't have topology on them. What I'll do is I'll retopo them as they are, and then what I'll do is I will change the shape of them with the actual topology that I make. This is way easier sometimes, just because when I'm dynameshing, you have to have it at such high dynamesh to get the fingers to not just squeeze together, and like, as they are. Oops. Right now, I'm not going to get a ton more detail. I might be able to like here's the knuckle, you know. And smooth that out. Ta-da, you know. That actually should go more like that. But yeah, the majority of this is going to be redoing this in the low poly mode. A little bit bigger thumbs though. I don't know why, I always have characters with huge thumbs. So why not, right? Now it's broken. Yeah, I'll fix it later. So let's go like this really quick before I go on break. We're going to just select this, and then we're going to delete. Just make sure nothing else is missing here. Delete hidden. Delete hidden. And that is that. So that way we've only got hands, which are going to name hands. Boots. Name. Boots. Not boots. Pants. I think these go to the yeah. I think what we'll do is I'll just merge these and then retopo them as a singular object that might attach to the pants. I might have them separate just so I can move them around or whatever, but yeah, actually I should, because those will move a little bit different. Rename, and that merge down. Merge down. Thank you. Rename, knee pads. This is shirt arms. Shirt arms. This is front armor. Actually, I guess I can merge these now. Merge down. Okay. And then what I'm going to do, I'm just going to merge all the teeth and everything into one and call that mouth bag. Just because it'll be easier to deal with it like that. And then I can always separate them if I need them later. In this sculpt. Once I retopo them, it might be a little bit different. What is this? Something... What's going on? What have I got? Why are the eyeballs? Oh no. Okay, let's separate those. Split the parts. Merge down. Apparently I had the eyes underneath of one of the armor pieces. I thought the armor was underneath of it. There we go. So we're going to rename that as just armor. Rename this as eyes. Rename this as mouth bag. That's it. Knee pads, boots. And this needs to be renamed as head. Although that's going to rename itself when I save this tool out. So, not a huge issue there. Time tester version 10.